vacation, and I thought it would be fun if Trey and I took you around the gardens today. We'll start with just some of the porch plants we have here. This is one of my favorite, the variegated alocasia, and you can see the almost watercolor effect that it has on the leaves. I just love this plant. They get really big. Here's a baby growing here, and we've got this really beautiful pink variegated philodendron and variegated leaf. Maybe you can get a close-up of that. You can see it. And the Amazonia leaf, which I think is a little temperamental in this pot. I'm going to switch it up. And another variegated arrowhead vine. So this is kind of what we got going on this side on the porch, but we'll take you down into the garden. This tree was actually a gift from a friend. This is kasha wood, and it started, so small, just 3 years ago. Everything grows so fast here. And so this is a really nice building wood. And we probably will use it for building, but it adds a nice shade. And this is a really nice shaded garden section with the tabacon. This tabacon is just really dramatic and beautiful. And Trey and I have planted, this is the kind of shade-loving ground cover here. What do we call that?
Purple sheen.
Oh yeah, purple sheen. We don't know really the real name for a lot of these things. And this is a really cool little variegated fern. Very slow growing, but really cool. And you walk around this loop, Trey was able to forage all these elephant ears. They're not the variegated, but they grow really big, and they're coming up, you can see, really nice. They're beautiful. And we call this little variegated border running, very prolific plant, Moises or Moses. And we've got a lot of this wandering Jew as ground cover as well. This is a guanabana tree. So this is one of my favorite tropical fruits ever. This tree right now is not fruiting, but it will be hopefully next year. This tree's probably only 3 years old. And then around here we have an actual cocoa tree. So different than our pipa trees. We have the whole property lined with young coconut water pipa trees, which you'll see. The pipa is the young coconut water, but this is actual more mature coconut that you're used to seeing. I call this cousin it. This is a decorative palm. I don't know if can you see the burlappy trunk is so cool, like a cousin it. It's a very slow growing palm, and I got this one from the botanical gardens here in Playa Negra from Ansel and Peter. We've got these beautiful black magic. You'll see them all around the yard, and they also grow very dramatically and beautifully in this purple color. And it's nice to have, the contrast. This is one of the bromeliad gardens. We love our bromeliads, don't we?
Oh yeah.
And I love these variegated star bromeliads. And some of them we're discovering like a lot of sun, and a lot of them like part shade. We had recently in the trees, we'll get a shot of it later, oropendula birds nesting in these trees. And as they nest and as they fly from the nests fall. They're these big, like long cone-shaped nests, and they make really nice material for the gardens. Trey's been making this sculpture with the nest and then with driftwood, and we found this driftwood down by Limon, where there's a lot of washed-up driftwood on this kind of deserted beach that we used the rental car and picked up a lot of driftwood. So this is a very kind of aquatic, it looks aquatic to me. Is the pipa tree I was mentioning. Right around here, this is one of the original trees on the property, the cacao. And so Cam really nursed this one back to health. Legendary kind of tale in this area is that all the cacao trees were diseased by the banana plantations to destroy the cacao plantations. It's all folklore, we don't really know, but there was a disease on most of these trees, and they weren't producing for a long time. And Cam really nursed this one. This was an original tree on this property, so I loved having the original tree. And if you look close, through the nurturing, fertilizing, and then all the composting we've done, this tree is super healthy, and it produces a lot. These are chocolate pods. The more mature up there, you can see the yellow, and these are all baby pods coming in. So you can make pure cacao, pure chocolate from this pod, and the fruit itself from around the seeds that you make the cacao, the chocolate from, the fruit from this is delicious as well. We've got our little hammock area. We just pruned this one, so it's pretty chopped back right now, but this is powder puff tree or mimosa, and you can see over here, it really does need, it's an overcast day, it needs like full sun for these flowers to be fully in bloom, but you get the idea. And we might as well come over here. We've got a nice, another shade garden under the mimosa or the powder puff with these variegated shades and a lot of sword fern, which is awesome. This is a new garden. This is the back side. We'll take you around when we make our way around, but the back side, birds of paradise. These are all new this year with the dramatic black magic. This is a starburst plant, which is going to be very beautiful when it blooms in like a pink starburst type flower. Pineapple that we just planted here. And these are orchids, and this is actually the Costa Rican orchid, the national orchid. We transplanted this from another part of the yard, but they start in clumps pretty easy. Another purple vine we mixed in that I don't know the name of. We'll go back
That's
around.
a Mexican petunia.
Oh, Mexican petunia. It's so pretty. And then coming back around, this is what it looks like before we have a garden planted, all the underneath mulch and things we build up to really build the earth up. And this is in progress, another in progress kind of bromeliad, and this is the torch ginger. They look very Lakshmi to me. I love these beautiful gingers. And that's the traveler's palm, where the crisscross pattern is really cool. You got to keep those under control. They get giant. Always babies to get from there. This is, a very abundant pipa tree, so we can come out and get coconut water. Trey's training this jungle pothos up the trunk, which is really cool, very dramatic. And we've got some African violets here. Right now we don't have a lot of blooms. It's been raining a lot and overcast. So, we're in a kind of an in-between flowering time, but these are all canna lilies. And that is monkey ear here, which propagates really easy. More bird of paradise and more bromeliads. That's the monkey ear. And more bromeliad with some driftwood sculpture. The watermelon bromeliads. Beautiful matte black magic and giant alocasia. And then the almond tree, the kind of the carport. If you want a nice shaded area, you can actually train this tree by pruning it, and it'll provide really nice shade. And then just if you turn around real quick, you'll see more of this really amazing bromeliad garden Trey's been really working on, building up with driftwood pieces. And the bromeliads have propagated. They're called pups, so you get to break them off and keep working with them. This is another natural kind of jungle succulent we've been using a lot, and it grows really fast. And again, with the contrast of the black magic, and here it's really dramatic. We've been making these kind of walkways or paths. This is a nice little date palm that Jake helped me plant, and it's growing really well. This is a bitty bough tree, and when this fruits, the fruit is like eating lemon custard, like a little lemon custard bowl. I can't wait. We call this our desert, our succulent. There's a lot of succulents in here. It seems to like this area, so we've planted a lot of cactus. This is the Queen of Thorns in a baby version. Some of them I just don't know the names, and more of the really cool driftwood sculpture with the nest bromeliads. These are such cool succulents. They do get really big, but you have a lot of babies that you can transplant other places. And a trellis with, again, it's a non-flowering stage right now, but we've been training this orange hat flower, the Chinese hat flower it's called, to go over the trellis. It's kind of, we're going in reverse, but this is kind of the entrance over here. So if you take a peek over here, that's our gate you come in from, and then you kind of enter under the almond tree. I just wanted you to see the beehive ginger over here. We did a recent construction phase and had to replant them, and they are all back in their glory. And it's really nice because in the jungle here, most of these plants you can get going and then take a cutting and then just replant it, propagate it somewhere else just by really sticking it in the soil. Some of them take a little bit more, but for the most part, you can just stick them in. This is katuk. This is an edible green that's very high in protein, so I love to eat it. This is trimmed way back. It's nice to get the stalks really sweet and young. If it gets really overgrown fast, so it's nice to trim it back, but you get the sweetness of the stalks. You can eat the stalks like asparagus as well. High in protein. It's awesome. And this is going to be another beautiful purple flowering tree. Here's our New England garden, we call it. So this is a mix of very New Englandy type flowers you probably recognize. This is a durian tree. Either you love it or you hate it. I call this Cam's tree because I don't like durian, but a lot of people do. This is in the Thai family. This is what we call zebra plant right here, and it's you can see the stalks. It's really cool. We've got our heliconia, our lobster claw heliconias here. A hat, kind of a hat palm here, heart of palm. You can eat the stalks of. These two trees are guanabana, and they're, again, my favorite. I bet you over here you'll see the fruits. Yeah. So there's a nice big fruit. We have to get the ladder to get that down. You can see how that looks all spiky, but it's delicious, and it says too its properties are that it fights cancer. We'll go back through here, but this is the Bismarck palm that I did get in San Jose and brought here. A very special palm. It's an Australian palm, and it's got that really beautiful silvery sage to it, that color. More peepas. Really, the whole property is lined with peepa trees because we have to have coconut water. This is just, kind of our compost lot corner. And an orange tree that hasn't fruited yet, we're still giving it some hope. We've got these crotons planted all around in the hedges, and then as standalone little shrubs, which is really nice. And I forgot the name of this palm. This is
Fishtail.
That's fishtail. And then we've got a foxtail palm. So different palms are starting to get going. We've got some lipstick palms that need to probably be moved. They're in too much of the shade. Balinesian agave with some firecracker flowers coming in. We've got some more of those we'll show you. And then these baby trees, we've got cos trees. This is ginger. So you can see the ginger root right here. That's regular ginger that you get in the store. Got that coming through. This is papaya. We've got our jackfruit tree here, which make delicious tacos. If you want to make barbecue, you can see the fruit. So that's what a jackfruit looks like on the tree. And that's probably time we could pick that. When you want to make kind of the meat version, like a taco, you'd want to pick it a little bit more green, but when you want it more sweet tasting, you pick it when it's more ripe. And then over here, we've got our raised bed vegetable garden. There's lots of Panamanian peppers right now that Trey you should eat, because I don't eat hot peppers. I'm a wimp with it when it comes to spices, but lots of Panamanian peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers, squash. And I just want to, I'm really bless you, really happy about how that garden's coming. We've had a lot of rain lately, and this tree is an ackee tree, which we've been wanting to grow for a couple years, and now it's finally growing and taking. So one day we'll have ackee, which is like almost like an egg when you cook it. It's a Jamaican style fruit from, I think, mainly Jamaica. These are our banana trees. Got bananas, and then lime trees. So there's some limes on here. I don't see them right now. This is rambutan. This tree is rambutan, and you can see the fruit, or mambachino. You can see the fruit. They look like spiky green, and they turn red. And they're delicious. So this is the first year we've had the fruit on this tree. This is our ylang ylang tree, and I think it's one of the most fragrant flowers of the world. It's the scent of Coco Chanel, the perfume Coco Chanel, and you harvest these flowers. Oh, if you could smell these. You can harvest these flowers at night for the most oil. They are nocturnal flowers, so there's the most potency of oil in the flower between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. It's actually when they harvest the flowers for essential oils. That's ylang ylang. And this is a superfood called sacha inchi, and it's a vine. We've trellised it here, so you can see the pod is really cool. And when you break this pod open, it's like a peanut or a nut, but it's full of protein. You might see it in Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, like sacha inchi powder, protein powder, but that's the actual fruit, and you have to roast it. You can't eat it raw. We've got our little bromeliad. This was an old palm that we cut, and you just make everything as a vase after with some snake. And our little compost, you can see our path cam made us a nice compost this year, so that's where we bring our food, our compost. Variegated ginger. We're just kind of taking you around. Let's go back this way. This is the Lorella tree. It's one of everybody's favorite trees. It's a beautiful shade tree on the land, and this one's only about 4 years old. This is right next to our yoga terrace, which is brand new this year. So it's a really nice little spot you can sit under. We've got some shaded gardens around another kasha next to the Lorella, and some really abundant coleus coming in here, and variegated ginger that will come up, some vines that will go up. Pastora tree is this white-leaved tree. Maracuya, this is passion fruit vine. So we're training these vines now, and they'll eventually be able to vine in between these natural woods. Here are papayas actually coming in, which we all love papaya, so happy about that. And then another one of Cam's projects, special hibiscus. Here's a sweet little white hibiscus plant coming in. This I don't know the name of, but we call it the orchid tree because the flowers literally look like orchids. They're so pretty. And again, it's not fully in bloom right now. We've had all this really good rain, which we've needed. Another alocasia. This is what I'm hoping will be our moon gazing garden because there's a lot of reflection with white around here. That will be eventually white ginger. We have the white hibiscus, the alocasia, so I think with the reflection of the moon it'll be really beautiful to sit out under. This is jasmine. Here's a jasmine flower, another very beautifully scented vine that we're starting to train. So it takes a little bit longer sometimes than other plants, but we're slowly getting this one to come in. And this will be a jasmine vine over the trellis, which kind of leads you into the yoga place. Oh, I see Kaya. I spy Kaya making sure that we're doing a good job in the tour. These are really big lilies. They're very dramatic lilies. We just got them from a cutting from a neighbor. I forgot the name of this tree. It's another fruiting tree, but now we're on the other side of that bird of paradise garden. We call it our Japanese garden. Just kind of do you like the agave there?
Mm-hmm.
We moved it. And so this is the other side. You saw the side with the black magic and the bird of paradise, but now you can get a kind of a shot of the other side of, there's a lot going on here. Spider plant in the log. And again, this is all dirt from the property and different logs that we've moved from trees we've had to cut down from construction. This is a Japanese privet. It's very beautiful. It's another like slower one to grow, but once it's filling out, it's got a really pretty look to it. And then we'll come back around so you can see these beautiful bromeliad gardens. And this vine that Trey kind of started in here is now coming through, and it really adds a nice contrast for the bromeliads themselves. Again, I always think it looks very aquatic, like a little terrarium or aquarium look to bromeliads. But this is probably, these are probably the closest gardens that you're seeing. Oh, and over there is our basil. You can just get a long shot of the basil and some more cherry tomatoes. So we just come out and pick some basil. The bromeliad gardens are under is an original tree also. This is a mango tree. And this year was the very first year that I ever ate mangoes from this tree, and that was awesome. We got to freeze a bunch for smoothies. So that's our mango tree. And I think if you come back up around, we can take you, we'll go through the house another day, but if you come up the terrace, this is our new terrace we've just built, but it's still not complete. Little kiddie pool here, my favorite new thing. Some roses, and this is called Devil's Spine, and we've got a little bromeliad. There's the bracts there in that orange color. This is actually not the flower's inside the protective bracts. And if you come this way, this is the yoga studio entrance really, but we've got these ficus trees, and one of my favorite little plants hiding in the ficus is this, you see it in a house plant at home a lot, these little viney ferns. They like a lot of shade. And then coming up the stairs, our Ganesh entrance. Yay! We've got this new garden balcony. And we made these planters, Cam made these planters from driftwood. They're really cool. We had these pieces of wood and these driftwoods and drilled holes and put wire through. And then these are the fern from the yard. So we just made arrangements with it. This is one of my favorite, the variegated ginger tricolor plant. Cam also, with metal, soldered this living wall, which is going to serve as a partition for the when there's classes and people come up. It'll give whoever's renting over here some nice privacy. They can just go in. So this will all be full of plants. It's a living wall with pothos right now. We just did the side, so it's got a ways to go, and then we'll put the plants on the other side as well. But it's nice to have a living wall partition, and it's nice to have wheels, so you can also be really flexible with where you want it. And this is our balcony. If you want to come down this way, you can check out. This was a recent gift of a vanilla vine, which is actually in the orchid family. So I just planted it, and this will get really long. Like something a little bit more rough to attach to, so it's probably gonna look for these. You actually keep these really semi-dry because it's an orchid, the vanilla, and you have to self-propagate the flowers. We don't have the right kind of bees here for that. More cactus and coleus, and some more hanging planter bouquets that I think I just made these last week. Very low maintenance, but they do like shade, the sword ferns. And that's it. We'll come back for the peek through the studio and maybe get an overall shot of the yard. Oh, we missed the Surya garden. I realized. Should we go back down? Now you can see if you focus into the Surya garden, way down there, that's another whole mound. One day there'll be a pool next to that. I'm gonna manifest a pool and some cactus here. Balcony, and then last but not least, this plumeria, which I've been wanting for a long time, and I've tried several times in the yard, and I think it just got too wet. So this time I propagated 2 stems. You let the stems dry out first, and then you can place them in the soil, and they worked. And this is, again, not a flowering stage that we're in, but we've already had flowers on these. So I'm really hoping to put these in big pots. I love, big potted plumeria because it does get really wet here. So I'm really happy about that. And thank you so much. That's a mini long tour. There's so much to really see. And we have the help of the jungle that everything grows really fast. So I hope that you can visit us one day and see all of this for yourself in person. Bye, have a beautiful day.